up, fight fans? So, right now, this year is kind of starting off kind of bad for some people. And by I mean some people, I do mean Dana White. He is all over the news right now, and it's very unfortunate, isn't it? It's like this is a guy who has been the backbone of the UFC, the backbone of Ultimate Fighting Championship. He is the reason why the Ultimate Fighting is the way it is now. Without him, God knows where the UFC would be. I honestly truly mean that. Without him, he is the UFC. Bottom line is, he's the one that put his blood, sweat, and tears in this game to make it what it is today. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, things happened the way they happened, and he and his wife got into a little scuffle in a nightclub over there in Cabo. So it's very unfortunate because we've seen the video. I'm sure all of you guys have seen it. I'm sure all the news have broken down, and it's very unfortunate to see a man in that position to do what he did. And bottom line is, no man should ever do that. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter how powerful he is. Doesn't matter who or what he does or what he represents or what he stands for. It doesn't matter. No man should ever lay his hands on a woman. And you know what I've been seeing a lot of almost holding back. Like I don't see a whole lot breaking down. I don't see a whole lot news breaking out about this. I know if it was anybody else out there, if this was some kind of actor, if this was some kind of other athlete, if this was some kind of maybe other owner of a team or something, then maybe perhaps the news would break more. But right now, there's not a whole lot of news breaking. This is a very serious matter because Dana White is a very powerful man. You don't want to lead, how can I say this? You don't want to make it seem like, hey, it's not that big of a deal because it is actually a big deal. Now, bottom line is, of course, 100%, this is a family matter. This is a very personal matter for him and his family. But at the same time, it's also a very public matter because he is such a big public figure as well. Now, I do hope him and his family can work things out, and I do hope that things get situated with his family, his kids, and such, and they work things out. That's 100% true. But it's just far as I go and as far as I see, it's just you see a lot of the UFC into some of these things that they do. Like we've seen women, we've seen other fighters get into it with other women. We've seen other fighters break the law, and then we don't see the UFC do too much as far as repercussions go. I believe we've seen a few people get let go here and there, but it's like when the star status was up there, it's like they weren't really taken care of or they weren't really like dealt with in that type of manner. And it's like it's very concerning because you got to always show what you represent. You got to show like, hey, we don't put up with this. We don't represent this. And especially when you are the leader, when you are the one that's leading the way, you got to set that as an example. Now, for example, let's say the next fighter does that. Hopefully it never does happen, but unfortunately it does happen. And in this lifetime right now, it does happen. It does, and we all wish it never does. We all wish that some all men would realize that, hey, you know what, you never put your hands on a woman. We all grown up. I'm sure all of us were grown up, raised to be raised to think that way and raised to believe in that way. So I know I definitely was, but unfortunately, some people just don't follow by that rules. But be that as it may, like I was just gonna say, what is gonna happen if another fighter does this, and is something going to happen to him? Because right now we don't know what's going to happen with Dana. That's a big question right there. So we just got to see, we got to set an example of showing like, hey, you cannot do this. These are things you cannot get away with. These are things that you just cannot allow to happen. And especially yourself, just because you're an owner, just because you're you hold one of the most powerful organizations in sports, that doesn't mean you're above the law. That doesn't mean that you're this most powerful figure that you cannot be touched. We already seen what a lot of powerful figures and what happened, and they felt like they were untouchable, but then they end up crashing down really hard. So yeah, I really hope that again, Dana White does get his family figured out, but at the same time I really also hope that the UFC or whoever's actually leading the way, because we know Dana White's like the face of UFC, but the behind the scenes guys, whoever they are, kind of sets an example like, hey, Dana, we can't allow this to slide. We can't allow this to happen because we don't want to be represented as saying like, hey, you're allowed to do this and nothing's going to happen to you. We've done that so many years. So many years women were able to bad things happen to women and nothing was ever done about it. And now we're in a time where, hey, now people are being able to speak up for their actions, and we're able to see that people take repercussions. Maybe it took a long time for it to happen, but now it's actually happening. So now, I'm not trying to paint Dana White as this crazy monster and this abusive man. Like, I don't know him, and we've never heard of anything like this before. But it has happened, and there has to be some kind of consequences. It's just my personal opinion. I do feel like Dana White is a decent man. I do feel like like I said, Dana White, without Dana White, there would be no UFC. But there has to be some type of consequences for his actions. That's just my personal opinion. But I would like to hear what you guys think. I would like to hear your personal opinions. I would like to know what you guys feel, what you're thinking at this moment regarding this whole situation. Let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.